Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time for some more Fabled Lands. Going to be a bit of a tricky one this episode, so let's just see how we go. We find ourselves first off in Yellowport, which is the second largest city in Saqqara. It is mainly a trading town and is known for its exotic goods from distant Ankonkonu way to the south. The Stinking River brings rich deposits of sulfur from the Lake of the Sea Dragon down to the town, where it is extracted and stored in the large waterfront warehouses run by the Merchants Guild. From here, the mineral is exported all over Harkuna. Unfortunately, all that sulfur has its drawbacks. The stink is abominable and much of the city has a yellowish hue. The river is so full of sulfur that it is virtually useless as a source of food or of drinking water. However, the demand for sulfur, especially from the sorcerers' guilds, is great. Politically, much has changed in the past few years. The old and corrupt king of Saqqara, Corin VII, has been deposed and executed in a military coup. General Grieve Marlock and the army now control Saqqara. The old council of Yellowport has been indefinitely dissolved and a provost marshal, Marloes Marlock, the general's brother, appointed as military governor of the town. To leave Yellowport by sea, buy or sell ships and cargo, go to the harbour master. We shall not go to the harbour master. We shall leave Yellowport by land. We are aware there's a large yellow exclamation mark over the seat of the provost marshal, and we will deal with that in good time, but not right now. First, we shall head up to Trefoil. The road between Marlock City, Trefoil and Karan Baru is well maintained with regular guard posts. The Saqqarans are nothing if not efficient. We have an uneventful journey, which is grand. Now, this road to Trefoil may become key to our strategy this episode. We may need to travel it some 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 actually, yeah, probably at least 4. The city of Trefoil is a terrifying vision of apocalyptic destruction. It had once been a thriving crossroads town, not coastal. I'll start that again. I've got a very dry throat at the moment. The city of Trefoil is a terrifying vision of apocalyptic destruction. It had once been a thriving crossroads town, but now it is a burnt-out hulk. It was almost razed to the ground when it declared for the late king during the recent civil war and tried to hold out against the army of Grieve Marlock, the current protector general of Saqqara. It was then sacked by the general's mercenaries, and General Marlock is now trying to rebuild it. Craftsmen are hard at work everywhere. We shall move on, northwards. You join the much-travelled road that connects Trefoil and Karan Baru. The traffic mostly consists of convoys of troops and supplies. Eventually you come to the Weary Pilgrim Tavern, a way station between the cities. The tavern costs you 1 shard a day. Each day you spend here you can recover 1 stamina point if injured, up to the limit of your normal and wounded stamina score. We have no need to rest here for now. The road is nearly blocked by wagons and supply convoys. A troop of soldiers forces its way along the road through the throng. The men bang heads indiscriminately to clear people out of the way. We are banged on the head and lose a stamina point. Unfortunately, you get banged on the head. Well, so be it. However, we arrive at Karan Baru, a medium-sized town that acts as a way station between the citadel to the north and the rich towns of the south. It is a garrison town. Many supplies, arms and soldiers move through Karan Baru on the north-south trail. Shops, temples, traders and the like have sprung up here to serve the needs of the military. There is also a sizable mining community, for the mines of Saqqara lie in the Bronze Hills just outside town, and a slave market where poor unfortunates sold into slavery are bought for work in the mines. The Karan Baru market consists of several covered arcades. Much of its stock is for miners and soldiers, and it is run with business-like efficiency by the Saqqaran military. While we are here, we will visit the temple district. You want to see how the divine is represented in this settlement. The Temple of the Three Fortunes is a squat, square building. A frieze above the door depicts three women weaving a tapestry. That's a tapestry of fate where our destiny is woven, comments a priest. We shall seek a blessing. If you're an initiate, which we are not, it costs only 20 shards to purchase the Three Fortunes blessing. A non-initiate must pay 80 shards. The luck blessing works by allowing you to re-roll any dice result once. It is good for only one roll. You can only have one luck blessing at any one time. We used one up recently. Once it is used up, you can return to any branch of the Temple of Three Fortunes to buy a new one. We shall purchase a luck blessing, and we are possibly going to... Look, if we don't need it, that's great. We'll need it eventually at some point. We shall also visit the Temple of Turnai. The Temple of Turnai, the god of battle, chaos and strife, is built like a small fortress in one corner of the city near the barracks. Its heavy wooden gates are flanked by iron statues of bull-headed men wielding clubs. The workmanship is uncannily lifelike. Inside, the god is represented by a stone idol of a jaguar-headed warrior. A beautiful suit of golden chainmail adorns the idol. We have been sent to try and steal this for the Temple of Sig. Stealing from a god would certainly involve some deeper knowledge of the arcane arts. You recognize the two iron statues of bullmen that guard the temple. They are golems, creatures created by powerful sorcery. They will animate and attempt to kill any intruders that steal into the temple. Golems are almost impossible to defeat in combat, but they have one weakness: a ceramic plug about the size of an apple set into the backs of their heads. If the plug can be pulled out, the enchanted liquid that energizes the golem will pour out and the creature will die, rather like the ankle of Talos, the bronze man, from the Legend of Cadmus. No, not Jason and the Argonauts. Cadmus came before Jason and the Argonauts. Hollywood just took some elements of Cadmus's story and mixed it in with Jason's legend. That night, you resolve to try to get onto the roof of the temple, hang down from the gables above the entrance and pull the plugs on the golems before going for the chainmail. You clamber up onto the battlements of the Temple of Turnai with relative ease and maneuver yourself into a position overlooking the golem guards at the gate. Now you have to reach down without being noticed. This is a thievery roll. We have a good chance of succeeding without using our potion of stealth, and we are likely to need that later on. We also have a blessing of thievery, I believe, so we have a reroll at our disposal. The dice gods were kind to us. You reach down and deftly pull out the ceramic plug. A gush of foul-smelling emerald green liquid spills out onto the floor, and the golem twitches once before collapsing. The other golem is coming to life, however. You'll have to be quick to get it in time. That's pretty much anything but a double one. You roll across the eaves of the gate and reach down to pull the plug on the other golem in one deft maneuver. It ceases to function before it can give the alarm. It is an easy matter to get into the temple from the roof. Inside it is cool and dark and filled with an unearthly stillness. You reach forward to strip the armour off the idol of Turnai. This is another thievery roll, slightly harder, so we will use the potion of stealth. There we go. And if I wasn't feeling very, very confident about this, I would have purchased a second potion of stealth, which would have involved going all the way up to Blessed Springs. You spot a pressure pad on the base of the idol just in time. Who knows what unpleasant trap that would have set off. Quickly you remove the chainmail and sling it over your shoulder. As it is gold, it's useless as actual armour, but still heavy enough. The eyes of the jaguar-headed idol seem to turn to look at you. We are holy enough to know what this means. You realize that you have committed an act of sacrilege by stealing from the temple. You know in your heart that Turnai has cursed you. You will never be a great fighter while you suffer the wrath of Turnai. You have one subtracted from your combat ability until you can find a way of lifting the curse. Perhaps the priests of Sig in Marlock City can help you. You sneak out of the temple. And out of Karan Baru. The road is nearly blocked by wagons and supply convoys. A group of soldiers forces its way through the throng. The men bang heads indiscriminately to clear people out of the way, and not once did I use the word along in that sentence. You are mistaken for a beggar and receive 10 shards from a passing priest. We are a suitably devout individual. We're heading back to the inn, the roadside inn. We'll stay the night. Head on down to Trefoil. Ah! A bad omen. You lose one of your blessings at random. We've lost a charisma blessing. We'll have to make do without it for now then. Marlock City is a huge, sprawling metropolis enclosed in a fortified wall said to have been built 1,000 years ago by the ancient Shadar Empire. It is the capital city of Saqqara. Marlock City was once known as Sokar until General Grieve Marlock led the army in bloody revolt against the old king Corin VII and had him executed. The general renamed the city after himself. It is now a crime to call it Sokar. The general lives in the old king's palace and calls himself the protector general of all Saqqara. As we know in history, our country has suffered at the hands of a protector general after he executed a king for so-called treason. Then he went and invaded Ireland and treated them really badly. Not a nice man, that Oliver Cromwell. I mean, look, historians seem to treat him very kindly, at least during my childhood. I'm not sure I agree with everything he stood for. Let's leave it at that. The general lives in the old king's palace and calls himself the protector general of all Saqqara. Whereas the old king was corrupt, the general rules with a fist of iron. Some people like the new regime, others are royalists, still loyal to Nagan and the heir of the throne, who has gone into hiding somewhere. We do indeed know where. Outside the city gates hang the bodies of many dead people. Labels around their necks read, "Rebels executed by the state for the good of the people." "You'd best behave yourself if you don't end up like one of them," grates a guardsman, nodding towards the swinging corpses as you pass through the great eagle-headed gates of Marlock City. To leave Marlock City by sea, or to buy or sell ships and cargo, go the Harbour Master, not go to the Harbour Master. I'll screenshot that. And report it. Something even looks wrong about the spacing at the end of that line. Obviously because Harbour Master isn't quite long enough, but Saqqara's capital boasts a remarkable spiritual landscape, featuring 3 grand temples, each occupying its own distinct location amidst the city's bustling streets. Additionally, it is the home to the unique House of Priests, serving as the administrative heart of the polytheistic religions revered in both Saqqara and Golnir. We shall visit the Temple of Sig, first of all. The Temple of Sig the Cunning, patron of vagabonds, troubadours, lovers, thieves and rogues, is a ramshackle warehouse in the poor quarter. Inside, however, there is so much wealth it makes you gasp. The idol of Sig, a saturnine, two-faced young human of indeterminate sex, is covered in gems. As you can see, we have been made rich by generous, donations, says a black-robed priest. We shall seek an audience with the High Priest. We have unfinished business with him. "By the larcenous one!" exclaims the High Priest joyfully. "You are indeed an accomplished rogue!" The High Priest teaches you secret knowledge of Sig, the god of deception. You get a 300 shard reward and knowledge. You gain 300 shards and 1 thievery permanently. You tell the High Priest about the curse of Turnai. "Ah, I see. Well, you have to appease the god. You need a weapon, which you can buy in most markets or acquire by some other means. Throw the weapon into the holy waters at the village of Blessed Springs and ask for his forgiveness." Well, while we are in the Temple District, we'll also visit the Temple of Elnir. The Temple of Elnir is a single spire reaching skywards. Eagles roost in its lofty belfry. They are sacred to the priests of the Skylord. Elnir is the divine ruler of the heavens, patron of statesmen and kings, and his sons are the Storm Lords. "Thunder is the sound of the sons of Elnir smiting the cloud demons," says a passing peasant. Oh, not a priest. Well, a very ostentatious peasant, clearly copying the way he has heard the priest speak, because it makes him feel more important. We shall purchase a charisma blessing, since we lost one. And then, we'll take the road to Trefoil once more. We did not find a sword, alas, so we shall head back down to Yellowport, where we will purchase a sword and equip it instead of our magical one. Then we'll head off to Venefax. Zenefax? What's that? The villagers welcome you as the one who brought Fours to justice and saved their people from slavery. Venefax is a strange-looking village. It looks like a single gigantic building. All the houses are joined together to form a jumbled mass, and none of the houses have doors. The only way in is through holes in the roof. Ladders lead up to the roof, which in effect forms a network of streets that the inhabitants travel across to get to certain buildings, and I should not have gone to Venefax. That was a mistake which I will soon correct. "We had to build it that way for defence," says a passing farmer. "You see, the Scorpion men from the south cannot climb, so they can't get inside the town." There is not much for you to buy or sell in this provincial market. Items of no purchase price are not available locally. At this point, we remember that if we want to go up to Blessed Springs, we might as well be going up to the cold, bleak mountains to see King Nergan. And if we're going up that way, we might as well go back to Yellowport and visit the Provost Marshal. You wait several hours to be seen by one of the Provost Marshal's aides, a certain Captain Royser. We will convince him of our loyalty to Saqqara if we can. You attempt to convince the captain it is worth his while to let you see the Provost Marshal. Captain Royser is impressed with your claims of loyalty to Saqqara. and decides you could be useful to a provost marshal, I'm immediately reminded of that scene. To join us, you have to really hate the Romans. I do. Oh yeah? How much? A lot! Alright, you're in. How loyal are you to Saqqara? A lot! Alright, you can go see the provost marshal. The provost marshal is a rich and powerful man, cunning and capable. I have need of someone like you, he says. A group of rebels loyal to the old king are hiding out in the cold, bleak mountains. Their leader, Nergan Corin, is dangerous to us, as he is heir to the old throne and a rallying point for the rebels. Penetrate their stronghold and slay Nergan Corin, and you will be richly rewarded. I can promise you 500 shards and a title if you succeed. That's very tempting, but we're here to murder you. And by murder, I mean righteously strike you down for the good of the kingdom. You tell the provost you have important news best heard by him alone. He takes you to a side chamber without his guards. You exhale slowly, and all of a sudden you leap forward and try to cut him down. We can do it with magic or with violence. Well, unfortunately, the god Turnai is not happy with us, so choosing violence would probably not be wise. Additionally, we have our Selenium Wand, which has raised our magic score to an incredibly high amount. I think we will choose magic. 3, 4+. Do we have a blessing of magic? We do have a magic blessing. We also have 2 potions of intellect. Let's use one of those, just to get it used up. Would have failed if I hadn't used a potion. You enchant him so that he obeys your every command and falls on his own sword. Hurriedly you flee the palace. The cry goes up throughout the palace. Murder! Assassin! And the hunt is on for you. You will need all your skill to get out of this place alive. Test your luck, which involves no skill whatsoever. Ooh, we got lucky. And that is why I purchased a luck blessing. You hide in the kitchen pantry and then, disguised as a kitchen scullion, sneak out unnoticed. The skill and daring of your exploit will be forever remembered. Long live the rightful king! And now we bugger off out of Yellowport and don't come back for a while until we want to get on our ship anyway. And once we get on the ship, we're probably heading back up north to Yaramura. In theory. It's not a good theory. So we go to Venefax, then take the eastern road. You're on the road between Blessed Springs and Venefax. Pilgrims, the sick and injured, travel this route to the holy waters of Blessed Springs to find salvation. You are blessed by a priest and gain a safety from storms blessing. Excellent. The village of Blessed Springs, at which we have just arrived, nestles at the foot of a tall hill and has grown up around the holy waters, a special spring said to have healing powers. It has been fenced off by the villagers and a priesthood appointed to supervise the supplicants who come to bathe or drink of the spring's waters. There is no market, but an alchemist has set up shop here. You have heard stories of the holy spring and its healing powers. The village has basically grown up around it, and you have limited places to openly go to due to the guards hired by the priest of Mulhern to patrol the area. Guards hired by the priest of Mulhern, obviously. Still, you think that you can pay a visit to the holy waters. It's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Easy mode. A wooden stockade encloses the springs. At the gate, 2 militiamen stand on guard and a priest, dressed in blue robes, sits behind a desk. 35 shards to enjoy the divine spa, says the priest. We will gladly pay that amount. You find a wide pool of bubbling electric blue water. It gives off a strong, invigorating scent like crushed pine leaves. You remember what you were told. To lift the curse, you have to throw a weapon into the waters. Note you will throw your currently active equipped weapon. Also note, that's why I bought a cheap one, instead of our magic sword. You throw your weapon, muttering a prayer for forgiveness to the gods. The weapon soars through the air. It turns and catches the sunlight, sparkling like a flashing star before sinking beneath the water with barely a splash. No ripples appear. Your heart feels uplifted and the curse is no more. You find a wide pool of bubbling electric blue water. It gives off a strong, invigorating scent like crushed pine leaves. So, why did I get a sword? Mainly because we could have picked up a sword on the road around Trefoil. Additionally, of course, there's Sir Bedivere returning the sword to the Lady of the Lake after the death of Arthur. Well, during. He's still technically alive at that point. And he goes to do it 3 times, of course, because he is too afraid to part with the sword the first 2. And when he returns, he says, I saw nothing but the wind and the waves, and that's how the king knew he was lying. The 3rd time he comes and reports what he has seen, and the king knows he is telling the truth, and has done as he was bid. And then there's the thing of all of the swords in peat bogs and in lakes and water that were cast in the Iron Age, people sacrificing swords to the water, either giving them back to the ground from which the iron had been taken, or say this mighty warrior has passed, his sword is finished its fighting, let it rest now, and return to the world. Or for other reasons, perhaps to mollify angry spirits. So a sword seemed very appropriate. We shall obviously enjoy the waters of the blessed spring that we have come all this way to experience. You strip off and wade into the bubbling waters. The effect is astonishing. You feel a sense of well-being coursing through your body. If you are suffering from disease or poison, you are cured instantly and can restore your abilities to normal. We are not suffering from any disease or poison. Our abilities are not restored, as they are not diminished, but we'd paid to get in anyway, so we might as well enjoy the facilities. When you are ready, you leave the area, fixing the enchanted sword back to our weapons belt. While we are here, another potion of stealth seems to be in order for a blatantly obvious reason to do with the northern steppes. What else should I probably invest in? You know what? A healing potion is probably not a bad idea. It costs more than 5 nights at an inn, but can be used in combat in an emergency. We can get plenty of potions of godliness and a few potions of intellect in Golnir. Maybe even a few potions of nature down there, but potions of nature not as common there. A potion of comeliness, probably a good idea. We already have a potion of godliness. I'd like to get a potion of nature, but our scouting score is already equal with our magic score. Let's move on to the cold, bleak mountains. The cold, bleak The cold, bleak mountains look as inhospitable and forbidding as their name implies, their frozen flanks climbing high into the icy clouds. It's a tough climb upwards, but not impossible, and we have some climbing gear, which makes it much easier. You clamber up until you come to a mountain track. It rises up between a cleft in the rock ahead of you. A man steps out in front of you. He is clearly a soldier, but his clothes are rough and ready, as if he has been living in the wild for some time. The soldier recognizes you and leads you to see the king. Nergan is pleased to see you, and it's been so long I can't remember his voice. Have you succeeded in ridding us of Marloes? He asks eagerly. The king is overjoyed of the news. Excellent! At this rate I will be able to take my rightful place in the throne room of old Sokar. He rewards you with the title King's Champion. A new title. This is noted in the titles and honours on your adventure sheet. The title comes with a cash gift of 500 shards as well. The king has indeed retained some of his wealth hiding out here in the wilderness. You gain 1 rank. As a result of your gain in rank, your defense is increased by 1. You can also add 1 to the ability of your choice, such as scouting or combat, permanently. Well now, our lowest ability, without modifiers, 2 for thievery, 3 for 2, would be charisma or thievery. We're likely to use charisma more often, but when we need thievery, we're really going to need it, and we've used it a lot this episode. We will increase thievery, and this will probably be the last time we increase it for a very long time. We are also now a 5th rank character. The king has another mission for you. He explains that an army of steppe nomads, Trow, Mannequin people, and Sokaran troops still loyal to Nergan have gathered on the steppes and are moving to siege the citadel of Velis Corin, which guards the Pass of Eagles through the spine of Harkoon. Nergan tells you that an alliance of northern nations has declared war on the new Sokaran regime. A certain General Beladai leads the Northern Alliance, and King Nergan has joined forces with him. He asks you to travel to the steppes and talk to General Beladai. An adventurer like yourself might be able to steal into the citadel and bring about its downfall from within, or some such. If the citadel falls, we will have Sokara at our mercy, an act that is likely to require a good thievery score. Well then, we shall accept. And that is a mission which would push us up to rank 6. I know how we could hit rank 7 in Golnir, but it would not be easy. It would seem, therefore, that we want to be heading back to Yarimura. When you are ready, you are led back down to the foothills of the mountains. The cold, bleak mountains look as inhospitable and forbidding as their name implies, their frozen flanks climbing high into the icy clouds, and we shall leave them far behind us. We'll head across to Karan Baru, and then repeat our journey down the main road towards Yellowport. Once in Yellowport, it's time to board our ship. The new Provost Marshal of Yellowport is Royzer. He used to be Marloes' second in command. Since the assassination of the old Provost, Royzer has ruled the city with an iron hand. Patrols are frequent and spies are everywhere. You will have to be careful not to get yourself recognized. Let's get on our ship and get out of here. We could... Nothing for sale here. Looks like it will sell well in the north. So let's just sail out of... empty cargo holds. Let's go. Your ship is sailing in the coastal waters beside Yellowport. There are a number of other ships, mostly merchantmen, but there are also a few warships of the Sokaran Imperial Navy. At least we won't be plagued by pirates with the navy around, says the first mate. Indeed we were not. Neither were we plagued by the Sokaran Navy. You're sailing in the waters around Scorpion Bight. I wouldn't want to put into land in these parts, says your navigator. The scorpion men'll take all we got and our lives too, given half a chance. A strange-looking craft is bobbing in the water. It is shaped like a cone, floating on its base, and as you draw nearer, you realize it is made entirely of metal. Its sail, a huge piece of cloth, seems to have collapsed and is spread out around it on the surface of the sea. Great blue and white letters in some foreign script are painted on its side. You notice an opening in one side. Let us explore this strange craft. You maneuver your ship as close as possible and then take a rowboat over to the craft. Climbing inside, you find yourself in a small cabin which is lit by whining red and green lights set into the walls. A figure lies sprawled beside an ornate couch. The figure, although manlike, appears to have silver skin and a great big round head with one black glittering eye that seems to fill its whole face. Whatever it is, it appears to be dead. Oh, right. Diving suit. Got it. I was trying to work out the big one black eye. Fills the whole face. Right. Or a spacesuit even. Oh, that? Quickly you search the craft and find a kind of spear that fires steel balls from one end. It counts as a magic spear. Worried that you may be meddling with a ship of demons, you head back quickly and sail on. You are sailing around Scorpion Bite, but not for long. So, this magic spear can be equipped as a ranged weapon. It spews its metal teeth with thunder and fire, indubitable proof of its demonic origin. I can't remember what. I think it uses requires bullets, so slingstones. Got it. You're sailing along the coast of Blessed Springs. Gulls cluster around the ship looking for food. Their cries echo across the vast seas. A ship impaled on some rocks is breaking up. Nothing remains save for rotten timbers. However, a little bottle is bobbing in the waves. Inside, a message reads, "Never sail at night through rocky waters." You sail on. This was the ship that had those monsters on it previously, wasn't it? Not the same ship, but the same location. You're sailing in the coastal waters of Fort Brylon and Blessed Springs. At some point, it would be nice to come here and go up there. We're probably going to want slightly better combat skill before we do, though. And by slightly better combat skill, I mean something very specific, and it's not a slightly better combat skill. "Nerech's a dangerous place, even in its coastal waters, Captain," says the first mate. "The men probably won't follow you there if they don't think you're good enough to lead them." The first mate advises you against making the ocean journey. We're rank 4 or higher, we're going to do it. You're sailing along the northern shores of Nerech, the land of the man-beasts. The coastline is one long stretch of cliff. The waters are shallow and rocky, making it impossible to land here. Misshapen figures cavort and yell on the cliff tops, shaking their fists in impotent rage at your ship and crew. You find a poor shipwrecked sailor clinging to a piece of driftwood. Unfortunately, he has expired, still holding on even in death. It seems he was once a captain. You find his log, and the last entry of which reads, "We set sail today with a good wind behind us. I am worried, however, that we couldn't afford to buy a blessing from the Temple of Alvir and Valmir." A dire warning indeed. You are sailing around the tip of Nerech, out to sea. A great cloud of rolling fog, tinged with an eerie greenish glow, surrounds a mountain that climbs out of the mist. "That's the Isle of Mystery," says the first mate. He spits and makes a sign against evil. The men mutter among themselves. They are afraid of the misty isle, and we should indeed approach it at some point, but not yet. A strange ship emerges from the fog bank. It is barely seaworthy, a floating wreck of rotting rigging and mouldy timbers, but it is the nature of the crew that draws your attention. Ghostly forms, undead pirates, spectral figures that leap and dance wielding rusty cutlasses. A tattered red pennant flies from the mast. Your crew is filled with dread. "Ye gods," wails the first mate, "it's a ghost ship! If they catch us, they'll take our souls down into the cold, dark deeps." The spectral ship surges towards you in silent pursuit as the hot sun beats down. The only way this would be more scary would be if the sun was not hot and there were clouds in the sky. You can either sail straight towards the ghostly pirates and take the offensive, or call on the gods to repel the undead ship. We know it's not real. Charge the enemy! You have encountered the ghost ship before, and you know it is only an illusion set here to frighten the gullible away from the Isle of Mystery. You sail straight through it, and the pirate ship fades away, the illusion dispelled. You are sailing close to the mist-shrouded Isle of Mystery, and we should probably visit it. Yes, let's do that. You order the crew to sail into the fog. The first mate says, "We'll not follow you there, Captain. It'll be mutiny if you go on." The men stand around, shuffling their feet nervously, looking at the fog with fearful glances. We will attempt to persuade the crew to follow us. Your speech fills them with courage and loyalty. You want to try and persuade the crew to follow you to the isle. Your speech fills them with courage and loyalty. You sail slowly into the fog, which closes around the ship like a glove. You cannot see more than a few yards in front. A sailor checks the depth of the water with a plumb line. He shouts. His shouts, deadened by the fog, are the only sound you can hear. We blatantly pass a magic roll. You realize the fog is the product of sorcery, and that it is intended to turn ships back from the isle. You are able to guide the ship through using your sorcerous instinct. Eventually you come out of the fog into a small cove where you can drop anchor. The island is covered in a hot, steamy jungle from which rises a forested mountain. The men will not go ashore, but they will wait here for you to explore the Isle of Mystery if you want. If you go ashore, note that your ship is docked at the Isle of Mystery. There is a reason we're told to do that. You are forcing your way through the jungle vines and strange luxuriant foliage. Steam arises from the moist earth, and brightly coloured birds sing in the trees. The ground begins to rise. You have started to climb the mountain in the middle of the isle. "Turn back! Turn back!" squawks a large red and gold parrot before it takes to the air and flies away. We could listen to it or press on up the mountain. This feels to me like the story of that king from the end of the Mahabharata who goes on up the mountain to the afterlife, and he meets various trials and tests trying to tell him to turn back along the way, and he keeps on persisting. We won't give up now. At the top of a mountain, you find only the large, sprawling ruin of a mountain stronghold. Broken towers and shattered walls are all that is left. A voice rings out as if from nowhere. "By Mulhern! It's you!" The ruin seems to waver and dissolve in front of your eyes to be replaced by a thriving, fortified settlement. At the gate tower stands Pyletes the Sage. You took the Book of Seven Sages from the Scorpion Men and returned it to Pyletes in Yellowport in Saqqara. It seems like an age ago now, but he hasn't forgotten you. He opens the gates for you and explains that the Isle of Mystery is inhabited by magicians who worship Mulhern, the god of knowledge and magic. They like to live in solitude and shield their island with illusions. But an illuminate is always welcome, says Pyletes. I think he sounded quite old, didn't he? But an illuminate is always welcome, says Pyletes. The City of Mystery is home to a community of mages. The city itself consists of a few houses and shops, around a temple to Mulhern and a huge coliseum called the Starstone Arena. I don't want to go into the Starstone Arena and do the magic battles, because I think the episode's kind of long enough and I just want to get to Yarramurra, but I'm going to visit the White Warlock Tavern. The White Warlock Tavern is frequented by mages and priests of Mulhern. The tavern costs you 1 shard a day. Each day you spend here you can recover 1 stamina point if injured, up to the limit of your normal unwounded stamina score. You also hear a troubadour singing a mythic tale about the High King. 500 years ago the High King ruled Old Harkuna and he defended it vigorously against invaders from Utaku. Blatantly reminds me of King Arthur defending Britain from the Anglo-Saxon invaders. The Utakin used black sorcery to imprison the king beneath the Rime water, where he and his paladins were frozen in ice. His wife and one true love, Leonora, was an Utakin princess, but the masked lords of Utaku, angry at her love for the king, slew her and bound her ghost to serve as a merciless guardian jailer of the High King. Now she is a terrible spectre, the Ice Queen, whose heart is as frozen as the lake she haunts. Or so they say. Right. Guess what? The High King of Old Harkuna is said to be buried to be. There appears to be a maximum length to these notes section. I do not like this. Still. Yes, there's a limit. Okay, so we'll remove Vorga's section. With the intent to remove it. So I don't like the fact that the notebook is shared between all characters and all saves. I'd be okay with it being about this length if it was saved. You know, if it was separate for each character. Said to be buried beneath the Rime Water Lake. Utakin wife Leonora guards against her will as the Ice Queen. We may have reason to use this information in the future. Cave of Bells, Varshala Cathedral, which involves ringing of many bells, and The Whisperer bell must be rung first. We don't know about any others. Let's buy a round of drinks at the bar and listen for rumours. An old mage that smells of old books, pipe smoke and armchair leather waves you to a chair. He seems excited that anyone is interested in him and thrusts a glass of sherry into your own hand. He then drones on at great length about all manner of subjects. You wake up suddenly to hear him describing the forest of Laroon, which may have been the wizard's tomb found by Sylvanus Ent. Dr. Ent's studies suggest the demonic door of the tomb would respond to the word rebirth. Who can say why? Don't let me tell you my own. Let me tell you my own theory. You doze off again. When you wake, the next time you're being carried back to your room by 2 college servants. You're lucky, sir. You're lucky, milady, says one chirpily. How's that? You ask, yawning. You literally killed the last one with boredom. Stone dead like. Do we have room for rebirth in Laroon? We do. Excellent. Let's get rid of that erroneous capital letter. And that is why we came to the island. We will briefly visit the... Ooh, hello. Meteor Strike, Water Spirit, Lightning Strike, and Ice Bolt. Ice Bolt and Lightning Strike have a basic magic 6. 4, yep, 7, so yep, we could go for them. Ooh, they are not cheap. 50% maximum weapon damage, 70% chance to daze. The daze is good. That's a flat 70% chance. There's no sort of resistance or scaling nature to it. Ice Bolt, 50% maximum weapon damage to... We don't really have high maximum weapon damage. We have a higher sort of average. So let's hold off on any of those. Banner of the Shadar. We do know something about Banner of the Shadar being useful to enter the Shadar ruins, but we have no... Oh wait, that's where the Cavern of the Bells is, isn't it? But we still don't have a reason to want to go and ring them. So we'll just take our leave and head back down to our vessel. We can explore. Visit the arena with local potion master. No, we're good. A young mage accosts you on the way out. Oh, wait, milady, he wheedles. Why slog your way home by the mundane means used by the common mass of men? I mean, Fabled the Accomplished can cast a spell that will take you to the city of Yaramura in an instant. And for only a paltry 100 shards. Yeah, but that would leave our ship here. We're leaving on foot. The crew seems surprised to see you. We thought you'd never be coming back alive, Captain, says the first mate. You sail your ship back through the fog bank that surrounds the island and into open waters. You're sailing around the tip of Nerech. Out to sea, a great cloud of rolling fog tinged with an eerie greenish glow surrounds a mountain that climbs out of the mist. As the island mystery, yes, we've been here before. It's for pirates. We will take a stand and sail right through them. Those skeletal, ghostly pirates mean nothing to us. In fact, the crew are probably now beginning to laugh at this ruse. A nice, fun jest. You're sailing into Disaster Bay. Heavy rains begin to fall and the skies darken, severely reducing visibility. These are dangerous waters, Captain, says the first mate. Some people say the reefs and rocks of the bay shift and change, making any chart unreliable. Through the grey skies and sheets of rain, You can just make out a bright orange fire in the distance.
That's the beacon. It's lit to guide ships through the rocky reefs of the bay. We should head straight for it. That way we should miss the danger spots, Captain,
says the first mate. We're not heading for land. It looks slightly askew to you as you examine your charts of the sea, as if the beacon is in the wrong place.
You might be right, Captain, says the first mate, but then again it is said the reefs and rocks of the bay can change position. Perhaps the beacon's been moved to take that into account.
Bah! says the helmsman.
You're the most superstitious mate I ever served under. Who ever heard of rocks and reefs moving?
We will not head for the beacon, but follow our own route. The men appear uncertain about your decision, but they go along with it. You pass the beacon on your left in the distance. You examine your charts. The crew are relying on you to navigate the ship safely through Disaster Bay. You have successfully navigated the dangerous waters of Disaster Bay. Up ahead, your lookout spots an island.
That be Marlock Isle, says your mate. No one who has landed there has ever got back alive. I'd advise against it unless you've a map or something, Captain.
I have no map of Marlock Isle, and I am sailing on towards Yarumura. You are sailing on the coastal waters around the city of Yarumura. To the east, the sea stretches away to the horizon. And into Yarumura we shall sail. But that, I think, can wait for the next episode. We've done reasonably well. We've gained a rank. We've completed, what, 2 quests? And we're looking to do something sneaky in the beginning of our next episode. For now, though, I'm going to leave this one here. I hope you've all enjoyed this episode, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the very next one. I'll say goodbye for now, though, everyone. Cheerio. See you all next time.